I'll mute you all. I almost forgot to do that yesterday. All right, so let's come to a comfortable seat. And as you find that comfortable seat, do a little bit of shifting, a little moving. Really take the time to notice for yourself what feels good, what feels stuck, what feels tight, whatever's showing up as you start to sit. This is that initial opportunity to check in and be really aware of what's going on inside. And then place one hand over the other on your heart space and then let your eyes close if that's comfortable. Beginning to tune into a full breath in and out of your nose. And even more so, start to tune into the exhale. Allowing your exhale to become just a little bit longer than your inhale. Bringing that emphasis to pressing your breath out just a tiny bit more each time you take an exhale. Allowing the inhale to naturally come back into you, but really allowing that focus to be on that gentle press of the exhale further out. Start to even notice maybe your exhales becoming double the size of your inhales. And then return to a natural breath, not trying to make anything happen, just simply feel the effects of focusing on the exhale. And now softly release your hands down. Let your eyes gently open. And draw your shoulders up and back. Gently take your head side to side. And then nod your head. And shake your head. And then as you come back into center now, hands walk out to your knees and give a gentle press, lengthen through your sides, and then draw your right shoulder forward, your left shoulder back, just gently. Noticing a twist here happening from your low ribs. So think of keeping your sitting bones evenly planted. Your sacrum is going to stay even here, but allow your low ribs to help you twist. Inhale, come back into center, and exhale, take a twist to the right side. Left shoulder comes forward, right shoulder back. And again, even this through your hips, but allow the twist to happen as you draw your low ribs in. Inhale, come back into center, and exhale, take that twist over to the left side once again. And again, we're focusing on our twists happening from the low ribs. So exhale your low ribs in, and then maybe reach further across with your right hand to your left knee, left fingertips behind you. Lift up tall, sides are long. Exhale, low ribs in again to help the twist. Inhale, come back into center. And exhale as you twist over to the right side. Again, find that length through your sides. Low ribs draw in, maybe reach all the way across with your left hand to your right knee or thigh. Right fingertips behind you. Use that press into the floor to lengthen your sides from hip to armpit. Inhale, come back into center. Take hands in front to clasp. Turn forward with your palms and press forward. And then draw shoulder blades onto your back and begin to lift your arms up overhead. Stay broad through tops of shoulders, keeping shoulder blades engaged, but also press upward. So your arms start to hug a little bit more in toward your ears. And from that place, a little gentle side to side sway. As you find that side to side sway, again, think of allowing sitting bones to stay rooted, but allowing for that length from hip to armpit to happen. Side bodies long. And then gently release your arms, switch the cross of your legs, coming to the less comfortable cross for yourself. Move your sitting bones back and broad. By physically helping yourself with this when you sit, you enable that tilt of your pelvis and more of a lumbar curve, which we all need. So now hands in front to clasp, pull forward with your arms, and round back through your upper back. Actually try to keep that tilt of your pelvis so your belly's coming forward, and let the cat pose happen just from your upper back. Low ribs up. Take a big deep breath into that space in between your shoulder blades, and then add a little side to side movement here through your shoulders. Allowing for some of that lat stretch to happen. And then release your arms, hands come down to your legs again. And as you root down with your hands onto your legs, lift your sides, lift your shoulders up and back. And now hands behind to clasp. And now as you start to clasp your hands, this is a big heart opener, chest opener that we begin to do, but start slowly here. We're gonna keep that lumbar curve, of course, with your belly coming forward, but then engage your low belly, we have one low belly, and your low ribs, pull them in. Now inhale and lift your chest up, shoulder blades hug onto your back. Your elbows hug back towards you, but you're keeping a little expansion into that space around your kidneys as you pull your low ribs in. Take another big inhale here. And exhale, release your hands, walk your hands out on the floor just a little ways in front of you, and then tilt your pelvis so your belly is coming forward. So it's like you're starting to do a cow pose, but then push your hands into the ground and expand your upper back. So you're gonna keep both the cow pose in the low back, the cat pose in the upper back. Take a big breath into that space around your shoulder blades. And now freely move through your cat and cow, noticing both of these actions. Notice that tilt of your pelvis forward and back. Notice that expansion and contraction at the upper back. Then inhale, extend through your heart and rise all the way back up to a tall spine and press hands down. Lengthen your sides, draw your shoulder blades onto your back. And now one more movement here from our seat. Left fingertips to the floor beside you, right arm reaches over your ear. You can walk your way out a little ways here if you want to, but we're going to start to move with our breath. So our exhales take us to the side. Inhale brings us back up to center, and exhale over to the other side. Inhale to center, and exhale to the other side. And keep going with your breath, finding a little evenness, smoothness, balance with your movement and your breath. One more on each side. Inhale, rise all the way back up and start to shift forward onto hands and knees. And from hands and knees, we're pausing for just a moment to set ourselves up. So wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Make sure wrist creases are parallel to the front of your mat. And then root down through palms and fingertips. Rotate elbow pits forward and push, expanding into the upper back. Tuck your toes under. Now we're trying to keep that expansion into the upper back, even as we lift our hips up and back. Downward facing dog pose. And then take a moment to keep shoulders steady, even as you bend through one knee at a time, or maybe you sway your hips a little side to side. And now from down dog, or if this gets fatiguing for you, you can always come down onto your knee. Inhale, lift your right leg to the sky, centered with your hips. Press through your heel. Press from your lats out through your hands. Take a big deep breath. And then set your right foot down and inhale, lift your left leg. And again, centered with your hips, so you're rotating your outer left hip down. Rotate elbow pits forward and push from lats up through your hands, reach through your heel. And now set left foot down on the ground. And now shift just a little forward with your shoulders and your hips and step right foot forward in between your hands. You might need to bring your back knee down to get it there. That's okay. Blocks under your hands are always an option. I'm going to move my water glass so I don't tip it over. But now find centering with your hips. Think of your right hip crease moving back in space and your right big toe pressing down. Then deeper into your right knee and extend longer from hip to armpit. And in particular, think of your right hip moving away from your right armpit. Take a big deep breath. And now set left hand on the ground or on a block, right hand to your knee as you begin to take that twist gently to the right side. You can always set your back knee on the ground here. So as you put both shoulder blades on your back, again, notice from right hip to right armpit and make that space longer. You can always use your right thumb to help you. Take a big deep breath. Good, now both hands come down to the front of your mat. Come up to the highest point of your props, whatever you happen to be using, and then work your front leg towards straight. And we're gonna move with our breath. We've done this before, but it's been a little while. But first, again, wrap your right hip back, push your right big toe mound down, and now give your back knee a little bend and send your sitting bones up. So the tricky part of this movement is to keep that action happening in your hips the whole time. So your hip is moving back, sitting bones up. So now inhale as you bend forward into your front knee, keep your right hip back, sitting bones up. Exhale, work your front leg towards straight. Inhale, bend into your front knee. And exhale, front leg towards straight. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. One more time, full inhale, full exhale. Inhale, bend into your front knee, walk your hands to the inside and take your hands wide. Now your back foot gets to set down if that feels okay. So your foot's parallel to the back of your mat. Wrap your right glute down and under so your knee turns more toward the pinky toe edge. Extend your heart forward. Take a big breath right here. Good, then start to pivot into that wide stance fold place. Feet become parallel to each other, and in particular, the pinky toe edges become parallel to each other. Lift and spread your toes, lift your arches, and then set your toes down. A little bend to your knees, send your sitting bones up, extend your heart. And exhale, fold over your legs as deeply as your body needs. Sometimes it's nice to set your elbows or your hands on something here. But now, notice for yourself a tilt up with sitting bones. So if you need to, bend your knees considerably, send your sitting bones up. Full big deep breath. And then rise back up to your hands. Pivot with your hands and your feet to face the front of your mat again. Downward facing dog pose. Take a big breath. Rotating elbow pits forward. Push from lats out through your hands. Sitting bones lift. Inhale, come forward to a plank. Knees can always come to the ground here. Keep your elbow pits rotating forward and extend your heart. Exhale, lower to your belly. And from your belly, set your feet up. So tops of feet are planting, shoelace parts of your feet. And then press your hands down right by your ribs. Start to lift up and open through your shoulders here. Now, before you go anywhere, take a big exhale and draw low belly and low ribs in. Inhale, curl up and open as high as your body needs. Just notice if you can keep engaging through the low belly and the low ribs. Full inhale to rise up maybe a tiny bit higher. Exhale, tuck toes and push back to downward facing dog pose. Take a deep breath. And now shift forward with your shoulders and your hips to help you step forward with your left foot in between your hands. And from this place, pause. You might have blocks underneath your hands. Center off your hips. Find that action of left hip moving back. Left big toe mound pushing down as you bend deeper into your left knee. Long side body. So think of left hip and left armpit creating more distance. Then set right hand on a block or the floor, left hand to your knee or thumb into your hip crease as you turn your belly and your heart to the left side. Take a big deep breath. Shoulder blades are on your back. Then that distance from left hip to armpit creates more space for your breath. So take an even and full one. In and out of your nose. Then exhale, both hands come down to your blocks or whatever you're using, highest point, and then work your front leg towards straight. Pause and find that same action. Left hip wrapping back, big toe mound pushing down. Bend your back knee and send your sitting bones up, creating a lumbar curve. Extend your heart, and then begin to move with your breath. Inhale to bend into your front knee. And exhale to work your front leg towards straight. As you do that, moving with your breath at your own pace, just notice the tendency for your hips to shift out of that same plane with each other. So keep your left hip moving back even as you bend into your knee and straighten your knee. See if you can find that action as well as the sitting bone tilt. One more, inhale. And exhale. Inhale, bend into your front knee, walk your hands to the inside. And again, we'll take that difference in hip opener here of turning your back foot like your warrior two stance. And now front knee, the way we help with a little bit of safety is the wrap of the glute medius to help the knee open toward the pinky toe edge. Then extend your heart in that diagonal, take a deep breath. Long from hip to armpit. Good, now we're going to pivot, turning both feet to the right, pivoting with your hands, coming to that wide stance fold, and finding pinky toe edges parallel to each other. Knees slightly bent to tilt your sitting bones, or a lot bent to tilt your sitting bones. And then work your way as low into your fold as your body needs. Take a big, deep breath. Engage through your arches, allowing the inside edges of your legs to activate and lift. Then inhale up to your hands, extend your heart, and then pivot. Walk your hands toward the front of your mat, pivoting on your feet, and step back. Downward facing dog pose or hands and knees. Hands and knees is always an option. Pause and rotate elbow pits forward. Push from lats out through your hands. Send your sitting bones up. Inhale, come forward into your plank. Again, knees are always an option. Rotate elbow pits forward and push. Extend your chest. Exhale, lower all the way down to your belly. Take a moment to set yourself up. Press tops of feet and knees. And then engage. Low belly and low ribs. Use an exhale. Inhale, curl up and open. Again, as high as your body needs. Full exhale, keep that engagement going of pressing, rooting into the floor, and your core engaging. Next exhale, downward facing dog pose. Take a big deep breath. And then lower to knees, hips to heels, take a child's pose. A little sway of hips side to side. Good. So now we're going to shift forward onto hands and knees, walk our knees back, and then lower again all the way onto our bellies, but this time up onto our forearms. So we're going to take a little more of a quad stretch here. So our Sphinx pose first, with elbows directly underneath your shoulders, press down with palms and forearms, and then pull back isometrically. So your hands don't actually move, your elbows don't move, but your chest can move a little bit forward and lift. From here, root down with the tops of your feet, knees, and then engage, low belly and low ribs. Good, okay, so now turn your right arm so that it is diagonal, or not diagonal, but parallel to the front of your mat. Still elbow underneath your shoulder. And then with your right fingertips, or left fingertips rather, push and start to turn your belly a little bit open to the left side. Now bend your left knee, and from here you can stay right where you are, just pushing down with your left knee, allowing a little lift of your hips, or you can turn a little bit more, reach back and take a hold of your foot behind you. And from that place, if you want to, you can start to push your heel towards your glute if that feels good. If it doesn't, then let it be lifted. Yeah. Push down with your elbow and turn your belly a little bit forward. Put both shoulder blades on your back. Take a big deep breath. Engage your foot on your hand. And then gently, softly release. Head releases down to your hands. Bend your knees and sway your legs. A little bit different version of a windshield wiper than we usually do. And now rise back up to your elbows. And the second side, left elbow comes down in front of you. Right fingertips help you to be able to turn your torso. This makes reaching back for your foot sometimes more accessible. Bend your knee, reach for your foot if that's in your practice. Maybe start to draw your heel towards your glute, or maybe keep it further away. Whichever feels the best on your knee, on your low back. Sometimes the tough pose on the low back. Push down with your elbow, draw shoulder blades onto your back. And even think of pulling your belly a little forward, your chest a little forward, and then engage. Low belly, low ribs. And then softly, gently release. Push all the way back, hips to heels, take a child's pose. Just take a moment to notice if there's any stuff that showed up there for you. Take notice of it so that maybe the next time you can make some more shifts to what you're doing. And then slowly push yourself up to your seat. And we're going to come all the way down to sitting bones. And then one of my favorite ways to work through some of the glutes, the piriformis, the hips, the low back, find your blanket and give yourself a roll. Feet out in front of you, shoulder feet together, not as close as butterfly, but think this is actually called starfish pose. So think a diamond shape. And then lengthen over the tops of your feet and wrap the edges underneath your legs so your ankles have some support. And then grab whatever you're using for a pillow or a bolster, or maybe a couple pillows, whatever you need to do. Set your prop in between your legs and over your feet so you have a little bit of lift. But then you always have the option of adding more props, okay? So as you inhale, lift up tall. As you exhale, fold towards your bolster, your pillow, whatever you're using, and let your head rest down. And again, that might be setting another prop underneath so that your forehead can rest. That could be stacking your fists or bringing your head all the way down to whatever you're using. There's no right or wrong answer other than doing what is the best for your body to create the space and comfort. So take some deep breaths. Two more full breaths right here. Then inhale and gently push yourself up to your feet. And you're taking your bolster out from between your legs and knees lift. You can take the blanket out. You can always bring that toward the head of your mat so that you can rest your neck over it if you want. And then lay it all the way down onto your back. And again, if you want to, that blanket under the neck is sometimes just a nice thing to do for yourself here. But then footprints to the floor, walk your feet out wider than your mat. And then we'll take that other variation of windshield wiper that we know and love. And so dropping both knees to one side and both knees to the other side. Slowly giving yourself a chance to notice each side and how it feels. And now back in the center, we're going to take a spinal twist here. And this one's a little bit challenging sometimes to understand. So I'll do my best to describe it. But cross left ankle over your right knee. So we have that figure four pose that we know and love. And first, flex both feet and draw your legs as close to your body as is comfortable. You might even just rest your hands on your left knee and foot here if that feels good. And give a little rock side to side. And now keeping your legs the distance toward your chest that they are now, you're going to take your legs over to the right side. So maybe your left foot comes to the ground. And if it doesn't, you can always take a block and send it underneath. And from this place, you get to experiment and notice what feels the best. So it might be pulling your left knee a little closer. Sometimes that stretches more through the glutes, or pushing a little bit further away, which sometimes stretches a little bit more into the IT band, the pocket muscle. Take a big deep breath here and keep both feet active. That activity of your feet is what helps keep ankles and knees safe. And then gently release your hand and come on back up with your legs and set left foot on the ground. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. And then draw your legs in as close to your body as it feels good. And then you're welcome to take a little side to side movement here, a little rock. And then your legs come over to the left side. Again, your right foot might come to the ground, or you might set it up on a prop. And then take a moment to experiment and decide which version of this stretch feels the best to you. Or maybe you switch between them, but keep your feet active again to help your ankles and your knees stay safe. Maybe push away, maybe draw in close. Just notice what feels helpful today. And then gently bring your legs back to center. Set both feet on the ground. And then begin to set yourself up into a really comfortable place for a rest. Giving yourself that chance to tune into your body. One last time. As you find that place for yourself, begin to bring your awareness to your breath. To the slow inhales and exhales. Let your body settle. Let your mind settle. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Bring gentle movement to fingers and toes. As you're ready to, bend your knees and roll to one side. Then slowly, carefully, bring yourself back up to your seat. And connect palms together at heart center. With your eyes closed. Full breath in and out of your nose. Tune into what's present. Have a very peaceful and beautiful day. Namaste.